TikTok. You know, it's run by American investors. TikTok.
It is finally official. After months of back and forth, negotiations, executive orders and threats of a ban, and the occasional Trump tweet, TikTok has been pulled firmly into America's orbit. Donald Trump has signed off on a deal. It will shift TikTok's US operations into American hands. Right now, TikTok is owned by Chinese giant ByteDance. Under the new deal, ByteDance will surrender its US arm. TikTok US will spin off as a separate company. It is valued at around $14 billion, the new US company. And it will be placed under the control of American investors. That's the deal right now.
So this is interesting because I had a very good talk with President Xi. I have a lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok, and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors, the biggest. You don't get bigger, I don't imagine.
So who will own TikTok US? The ownership map looks like a who's who of America's business elite. There's also a sprinkling of Gulf royalty. Leading the charge are Oracle and Larry Ellison. The US tech giant will play gatekeeper on data security. Private equity group Silver Lake also has a stake, so does MGX. It is an Abu Dhabi fund chaired by Zayed Al Nahyan. He is the brother of UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed, MBZ. Now, MGX will have a 15% stake and a board seat. Together, they will have around 45% control. Other names doing the round are Michael Dell and Rupert Murdoch. Together, American investors will control over 65% of TikTok.
It's very good and very meaningful, but we have American investors taking it over, running it, highly sophisticated, including Larry Ellison. And Oracle, I guess, is going to play a very big role in terms of security, safety, and everything else. So we have very good controls. And
what about the rest? Well, there's very little clarity about it, but here's what we know. 19.9% of the stake will remain with ByteDance, the Chinese parent company. So China will control around 20% of the app, but the TikTok deal is less about logistics and more about control. For decades, the US exported social media the way it exports Coca-Cola. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, they were all born in California. They expanded to the farthest corners of the world. Then along came TikTok, a Chinese import, an app that Americans downloaded in the millions. As of today, 170 million Americans are on TikTok. That's around half of the US population, 170 million. 63% US teens use this app. So for Washington, it was a breach, a foreign entity holding the eyeballs of the country. The other thing they were concerned about was data. TikTok gathers vast amounts of data like all social media platforms do. This includes your location, your browsing habits, and even your contacts. Now, under Chinese law, ByteDance could be compelled to share that data with Beijing. So the algorithm can be weaponized. Of course, TikTok insists that none of this has happened, but the US is not convinced. So Washington made its stance clear. ByteDance had to sell TikTok's US operations or face a nationwide ban. And what does China make of it? Trump claims he got Xi Jinping's blessing. Beijing has not said much publicly, but don't mistake silence for surrender. China has every reason to be wary. This is a homegrown tech giant being chopped up under US pressure. Approving the deal means swallowing that humiliation. Rejecting the deal means risking a ban on TikTok in its largest market outside China. For now, Beijing seems to be holding its tongue. After all, the app's survival is better than destruction, but the problem is the precedent that it sets. For decades, the pattern was quite clear. If you were on social media anywhere, odds were that it was an American platform. TikTok broke that spell. Suddenly, the hottest app in the US was not American. It was Chinese. That shook Washington's sense of control. So this deal restores the old status quo. But if the US can muscle a Chinese giant into selling, what stops it from doing the same with future challengers? So I guess the bigger message for all of us is this: the world can use American apps, but the United States will not tolerate someone else's app dominating its market.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion kakarjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.